This is 5 in 10 from Skywatch TV for Wednesday, October 12th, 2022. I'm Derek Gilbert. Topic number 5 today, negotiate. That has not been a word heard often from the West, especially members of NATO or would-be members of NATO, like the Prime Minister of Finland. It's centered on finding an off-ramp for Russia to end the conflict in Ukraine. The head of NATO's newest applicant country was hailed for being tough and heroic, for essentially saying no negotiations are possible as long as Russian forces are in Ukraine. Well, that's not a way to end the conflict because, frankly, Russia is not likely to give up the gains that it's made in eastern and southern Ukraine. This is why it's a little surprising that someone like the stature of the former chairman of the U.S. Joint Chiefs of Staff has actually gone public and said, we need to find a way to get Putin to the negotiating table and put an end to this conflict before it gets more out of hand. This in the wake of President Biden's comments that we are closer to nuclear Armageddon than at any point since the Cuban Missile Crisis of 1962. In a weekend interview on ABC's This Week, Admiral Mike Mullen said that Biden's recent comments, wherein the president asserted that Putin is not joking about possibly using nuclear weapons in Ukraine, Mullen said he thinks Washington quickly needs to back off of such language, particularly when you're talking about nuclear war. Now, Russia has made it clear that the use of tactical nuclear weapons is in their playbook, but the United States no longer has tactical nukes with which to respond. We've got strategic nukes, which essentially would lead to, in exchange both ways, mutual assured destruction. And it's, well, the acronym MAD is, very apt in that case. Anyway, Mullen continued while being asked about Biden's assertion that we've not been this close to nuclear war since the Kennedy administration, by saying that negotiations can and should be a central driving policy objective. Again, this is not the message coming from the politicians of the West, essentially being driven by neocons. No word, by the way, whether ABC carried a trigger warning for neocons before airing the interview with Admiral Mullen, a voice of sanity in all of this. Topic number 4, Chinese police in the United States. Apparently, China has opened dozens of overseas police service stations around the world to monitor its citizens living abroad, including one location in New York City and 3 in Toronto. This is according to a new report by Safeguard Defenders, which is a human rights watchdog. This was published earlier this month. The report, titled 110 Overseas, or 110 Overseas, Chinese Transnational Policing Gone Wild. It outlines China's extensive efforts to combat fraud by its citizens overseas, in part by opening police stations on 5 different continents that assist Chinese authorities in carrying out policing operations on foreign soil. You know, Europe is home to most of these police stations, but again, one has been found in New York City. The Chinese government claims that these stations provide vital services to citizens living abroad, but the report notes that many of those services are those traditionally carried out by embassies. So why have a separate police station in a foreign country? Well, Chinese police stations set up to spy on the country's nationals in other nations. That essentially is what's going on here. And in Lower Manhattan, the station apparently run by a charity that's on the IRS blacklist. This is according to the New York Post. This nonprofit organization, America Chang-Li Association, owns and operates the police service station, which is located above a noodle shop on East Broadway in the Lower East Side of New York. The news of a Manhattan-based Chinese police station greeted with outrage by Republican lawmakers who've sent a letter to Secretary of State Antony Blinken demanding to know why the Biden administration has allowed the Chinese Communist Party to set up a police station in New York City. Topic number 3, Canada and the World Economic Forum. Globalism, kind of the subject of the day. The Liberal government of Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has admitted in writing that they have an ongoing contract worth more than $100 million with the World Economic Forum to introduce digital identities for travel to Canada. Conservative MP Leslie Lewis published an inquiry she sent to the Transport Minister Omar Al-Ghabra in June. The inquiry focused on the federal government's Known Traveler Digital Identity Program, or the KTDI rather, which was first introduced back in 2018. Well, we now know 4 years later that according to the KTDI website, the Government of Canada is listed as a pilot partner alongside the World Economic Forum, Air Canada, Toronto's International Airport, Montreal's International Airport, and others. This project is described as a World Economic Forum initiative to allow governments to access verifiable claims of a passenger's identity using a digital identity prototype. In other words, biometric identification, facial recognition software, and so forth. According to the information released by Trudeau's government, the proposed budget for this contract, $105.3 million over 5 years, starting in 2021-2022. Dr. Lewis, the conservative MP who got this information, has been an outspoken critic of the WEF and the adoption of digital identity programs by governments. In April, she tweeted, "It's incredibly concerning that the same prime minister who's signing our country up for this digital ID program experiment also ordered the freezing of bank accounts of people who bought a T-shirt to support the freedom protest," end quote. A reference to the truckers' protest over the mandatory COVID vaccines earlier this year. Yes, you marry one with the other, and suddenly you can make it very, very easy for a government to take control of your bank account. This is quite disturbing. Topic number 2, pastors in drag. Well, you know, when you twist the word of God, you can make it say pretty much anything you want to say, and such was the case last weekend in Florida. United Methodists in St. Petersburg hosted a children's sermon featuring a drag queen who was a certified candidate for ordination in the Illinois Great Rivers District. Isaac Simmons, who goes by the stage name of Ms. Penny Cost, you get it, Pentecost, Penny Cost, he wore a high-slit sequin dress, addressed worship at the Allendale United Methodist Church on October 2nd. Simmons' subsequent sermon embraced a denouncement of capitalism, liberation theology, and a demand that doctrine be overturned in favor of an indiscriminate affirmation equated with God's holy wisdom. Simmons as a controversial figure within the denomination, not just for wearing drag, but also for a profanity-laced reading of a poem that he wrote, which essentially said the Bible is nothing, disparaged the authority of the Word of God. This is the mouthpiece that you want, United Methodist Church? Anyway, Allendale United Methodist Church describes itself as a church committed to anti-racism and radical solidarity with folks, that's F-O-L-X, on the margins. The pastor said, quote, "One of the things I think great about Ms. Penny Cost is that she reminds us that we follow a God who calls us not to conform to things of this world," end quote. No disrespect, Pastor, but dressing in drag is actually the epitome of conforming to the things of this world. The god of this world, the spirit of the age, Inanna, Ishtar, Astarte, Aphrodite, the queen of heaven, whatever you want to call her or it, is all about deconstructing what God created and called good. Have you not read, from the beginning created he them male and female? The Florida Annual Conference has been struggling in recent years within the United Methodist Church, declining from an average weekly worship attendance of 142,000 in 2009 to 109,000 in 2019. That's a loss of about 23%. This ain't helping. Coming up, new superhero, Pfizer Man. That's next on 5 and 10.
The gods that ruled the ancient pagan world have been restrained for ages, but now the time of their return has finally come, and they are angry. Skywatch TV is proud to present the Return of the Gods collection. When you order Jonathan Cahn's explosive new book, The Return of the Gods, from the Skywatch TV store, you'll also receive the Jonathan Cahn collection on DVD and the never-before-released video entitled Gods of the Bible Unveiled. Jonathan Cahn is back back with his most explosive book ever to reveal the ancient mysteries that have been playing out in our modern world, which all signal the return of the gods. In this stunning book, you will uncover the mystery of the House of Spirits and how it affects an entire nation. Mysteries linked to the exact dates of pivotal Supreme Court decisions. The sign of the gods from ancient Mesopotamia that has now appeared in America. How ancient mythology has played out scene by scene on the streets of New York City. And the identity of the dark trinity of gods that have infiltrated America, such as the Possessor, the Enchantress, and the Destroyer, and so much more. Also included in this must-have collection, Gods of the Bible Unveiled. Join Skywatch TV's own Drew Graffia as he sits down with groundbreaking author Derek Gilbert to present the brand new, nearly 2-hour DVD that systematically breaks down how to understand what the gods in the Bible are and what their place in Christianity is. In this instructional guide, you will be taken step by step through why God calls his sons gods in the Psalms, how the fall of Genesis is only one of 3 divine rebellions, the biblical origin of the pagan gods and demigods, and how the Greek gods and titans found their origin in our Bibles. This instructional DVD has never before been released and was specially produced for inclusion with this limited time collection. But that's not all. In this amazing offer, you'll also receive the Jonathan Cahn Collection, featuring 3 uncut, extended, and 2 hot-for-TV episodes on the return of the gods that will leave you speechless, and 3 additional episodes of Jonathan's best interviews with the Skywatch TV investigative team. Sold separately, these items hold a retail value of over $70. Yours now for your donation of only $35 plus shipping and handling. So be prepared to understand the gods like never before as you expose their dark agendas for you and your family. The Return of the Gods Collection. Available now at SkywatchTVStore.com. Order now or call 1-844-750-4985.
Topic number 1 today, the worst super ever, Pfizer Man. Yes, the pharmaceutical giant has partnered with Marvel Comics to create a comic book to urge people to get their booster jabs to become an everyday hero. This PR stunt comes amid the rollout of its autumn jab that less than 1 in 20 Americans have elected to receive, and that's less than 5% if you're looking for a percentage there. Pfizer is also pushing for its new bivalent booster. That's one that goes after the Alpha and the Omicron variants. They want it approved for children as young as age 5. The plot of this new comic centers around a grandfather waiting for his jab at a clinic that comes under attack by the evil villain Ultron. Ultron, you know, the maniacal robot who basically upgrades and evolves and makes it really difficult for the Avengers to defeat, is used to represent the coronavirus, SARS-CoV-2, which mutates and evolves to evade boosters. Something that was predicted by Sharon and me a year ago, February, or whenever it was that President Trump announced Operation Warp Speed. There's a reason there's never been a vaccine against the common cold. It mutates too quickly. Anyway, Captain America arrives at the scene, pushed to the brink of defeat until Iron Man arrives, who represents the new Pfizer jab, and then Ultron is blasted out into outer space. Well, Grandpa tells the reader that even superheroes have to keep adapting to fight Omicron. And you can see how it ends with Grandpa getting his booster jab. This, again, being released as officials are pleading with people over age 50, that's my age group now, to please get your boosters. Somehow, we Americans have managed to resist this really compelling, persuasive PR push. This comic is now available to be viewed at the Marvel website. And I love this line from the story at the Daily Mail. Very dry, but you can imagine the guy laughing as he typed this out. It is not clear how much Pfizer paid for this promotion. Too much. Skywatch TV's fall virtual conference, less than 1 month away, but there's time for you to take advantage of our $10 discount. The early bird discount runs through October 21st. The conference itself becomes available November 4th, and you'll have 6 months access to all of the presentations beginning November 4th. That includes now, as a free bonus, all 6 of the feature-length documentary films from Skywatch Films, including the brand new Ragnarok: Humanity's Last Stand about Tom Horn's Wormwood Prophecy, the book that really shook up the world. Is this asteroid Apophis that's going to make a near pass in April of 2029 actually the wormwood of Revelation chapter 8? That plus 24 presentations from the likes of Tom Horn, Pastor Carl Gallups, New York Times best-selling author Joel Richardson, Messianic Rabbi Zev Porat, Lieutenant Colonel Robert McGinnis, many, many others. You can find the list of speakers at the website defenderconference.com, online defenderconference.com, and sign up by October 21st. That's just over a week and a half away now to take advantage of the $10 early bird discount. Again, Skywatch TV's fall virtual conference, Exposing the Darkness. Information and registration at defenderconference.com. Speaking of conferences, our tour of Israel is essentially a rolling conference through the Holy Land. Take advantage of this next March 19th through 30th of 2023. Sharon and I, along with Rabbi Zev Porat and our colleagues from Skywatch TV Simply His program, Allie Anderson, Donna Howell, will join us as we travel around Israel and show you why the various locations that we visit are so important to biblical history. From the Galilee, Capernaum, Bethsaida, the Golan Heights, the site of Gilgal Rephaim and the Serpent Mound of Bashan, down to Jerusalem, the Temple Mount, the tunnels underneath the Western Wall, Masada, and much, much more. We'll also visit the site of Joshua's altar. I mean, literally Joshua's altar, and much, much more. We've got the itinerary posted online so you can get a look at what you'll see on the tour. And of course, there's a place to reserve your spot as well at skywatchinisrael.com. skywatchinisrael.com. This week on Skywatch TV, we talk about the upcoming virtual conference. Don't miss the program as we give you sort of a preview of what you can expect. Skywatch TV's broadcast schedule posted at skywatchtv.com/channels. You set the schedule, though, by adding the Skywatch TV channel to Roku or Apple TV. That way, we're there whenever you click the remote. And we'll do the same if you add our download our free mobile app to your smartphone or tablet. That gets you all of our video content. Important news updates 3 times a week. News the mainstream media prefers you to miss. And a calendar of our upcoming events as well. That in the palm of your hand, whether it's iOS, Android, or Amazon Kindle Fire phone or tablet in your hand. We've got links to the app stores to make it easy to find the app that's right for your device. Posted at skywatchtv.com. You'll find the link in the top menu bar at the website. Thank you for watching as we keep watch. I'm Derek Gilbert, and this is 5 in 10 from Skywatch TV.